Welcome to SSE Essentials, a podcast series exploring entries in the newly released Encyclopedia of the Social and Solidarity Economy, or SSE. The Encyclopedia is your comprehensive guide to the SSE, a concept recognized globally for its potential for inclusive and sustainable economic and social development. Published by Edward Elgar, the SSE Encyclopedia is a collective work of the United Nations Interagency Task Force on SSE, or UNTF-SSE. For today's episode, we have invited Riccardo Bodini and Gianluca Salvatori, working for SSE. They contributed 2 entries to the encyclopedia, financing the SSE and finance sector and the SSE. Riccardo and Gianluca, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, it's Young.
Thank you for having us.
Could you briefly introduce yourselves first, and SSE especially, for our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Well, SSE is a research center and was established, let's say, a dozen years ago at the initiative of the cooperative movement here in Trentino. The university, the local government of this region is up in the northeast of Italy. Its object of study is the social economy with a focus on cooperatives and social enterprises. SSE is established in the form of a participatory foundation to which cooperative organizations and consortia belong in addition to the founders. But SSE operates as an independent center, cooperating with but not dependent on the organization that supports it. This is why SSE, let's say, enjoys broad freedom in choosing its research directions and topics. However, we are not a traditional academic research center because our activities always stem from observation of social and economic reality and not from, let's say, pure intellectual curiosity. For this reason, SSE's research agenda is really strictly connected to training and consulting activity. The results of our work enter the lives of the organizations we study and result in helping to identify strategies, rethinking organizational models, and so on. As for me, I've been working in SSE since its establishment 14 years ago, and I followed the development. Today, I'm Secretary General alongside Carlo Borzaga, our founder, who is now President Emeritus of our institution.
Thank you very much. Riccardo?
Thank you. So Gianluca introduced SSE, and I don't have much to add. I'd say the only other thing is, if we think of the specificities of organization, one is the one that Gianluca was pointing out of basically inhabiting both the academic research world and the world of practice and policy. So paying attention not just to the development of new knowledge on the SSE, but also on how this knowledge can be applied to the needs of SSE organizations and public institutions. The other is the geographic scope of our activity, because as Gianluca was saying, we are based in Trento. We were created here. We have strong local roots, but our activity is really global in scope. We were born as the European Center of Research Center in Cooperative and Social Enterprises, but increasingly over the years, we've been working really all over the world. And my role within the organization is director. I also joined SSE almost at the beginning in 2010. So about 13 years ago, I started working on the development of new projects and then started taking on more kind of management duties. And I've been director for the past few years. In my capacity, I work divide my time basically between managing the organization and also working on some research and consulting projects.
Both of you have been researching SSE for decades, and we are very much curious why you became interested in the SSE.
Well, I've always been interested in issues related to economic development, poverty, inequality. And prior to joining Eurixe, I was working in the United States on regional and neighborhood economic development, especially around urban areas. And at that point, mostly focused on how to make the market work better in areas where it wasn't working. Market meaning primarily for-profit enterprises. When I joined Eurixe, I started focusing more on the social economy. I realized that it was probably a more systemic solution to the issues I was trying to address, because it's fundamentally a different way to organize our economy to be more inclusive and more sustainable. And so that's kind of how I look at it. I look at it as a way to build a better economic system that works better for people, that's more sustainable and ultimately more equitable.
Thank you very much. Gianluca?
My trajectory has been quite different. Yeah. I would say my professional history has gone through three major phases. For a long time, I was engaged in issues of technological innovation within a research center based in Italy, focused on computer science, artificial intelligence, other advanced technologies. My task was essentially to manage technology transfer in real life, so within entrepreneurial and social realities. Then I was counselor for research and innovation in the regional government, so with a political role, and I was in charge of designing innovative policies for regional development. In a sense, the third phase, the one in Eurixe, originated from the realization of the limitations of the two previous. On the one hand, I realized that scientific technological innovation needs to ask about ultimate goals and not only about tools and means. That was the limitation of that job. On the other hand, I experienced that public policies are ineffective if they are designed in a top-down logic. The interest in the social economy, I could say, stems from the realization that for the development of our society, it is not enough to act only in the name of the market and profit, because this increases inequality, nor is it enough to rely on the power of the state, which can rely less and less on the trust of citizens. So the social economy represents to me a third principle: the cooperation of all social actors in the name of the general interest. It is a principle that claims to replace those, that doesn't replace really those of the market and the state, but is something that acts differently. And that's the point to me that attract to this third phase of my life.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Very interesting. And as you know, on the 18th of April, UN General Assembly adopted the resolution on the SSE. And all of us in the SSE community are very much excited about it. And what future of the SSE can you envision at the global level, given that we have this UN resolution, which can stimulate us to promote and push the kind of agendas of the SSE?
Well, it's not exactly an easy question. But I want to return to what I already said about the third principle, to put it in a broader perspective. I think that we are coming from 15 years of global crisis. The Great Recession, 2008, the pandemic, Russian and Ukrainian conflict, the increased geopolitical tension worldwide, and so on. What we have learned from this crisis is, first, that it's not true that the rules of competition and the rules of the market can deal with and solve every challenge better than public powers. In fact, we came out from this crisis because of a massive injection of public money. The pandemic was fought with restrictions set by states. In the conflict, we see soldiers, not businessmen or consultants at work. So the first point is this. And the second is, at the same time, that this return to the scene of the state and its authority is fragile. if it's not supported by the consensus of the people. Never before has this consensus been so scarce, so poor as it is today. So this requires a different exercise of power based on the principle of cooperation. Cooperation in the name of a general interest. This cannot happen except by creating new civic consciousness among all citizens. Civic consciousness is something based not on money power, but on the pursuit of the common good. So this is, I think, the future of social economy in the next 10, 15 years. It's a matter of shared responsibility, which is exactly the opposite of the concentration of power in the hands of just a few people. Social and solidarity economy is the approach that comes closest to this principle of collaboration, that translates better into concrete practices. And just one more